Isabel and the Rose Village. Every year from early spring to mid-autumn, the roses of the valley would bloom. They were perfectly adapted to high altitudes with mild and humid climates. They would have been like any other type of rose, if not for one thing. They only bloomed in this cool valley nestled among the mountains of Azerbaijan. Merchants from the west would come to buy them from the locals to make delicious aromatic teas from their petals and seeds. The village of the rose got its name because it was a true sanctuary for these unique flowers. For its residents, growing and caring for the roses was more than just work. It was part of their identity and way of life. But no one could have imagined that their precious blooms were about to be trodden. One day, Mr. Amadeus, a long-time resident of the village, was tending his private rose garden. He had the habit of checking on the health of his countless flowers every day, using a large magnifying glass. He was shocked to see large dark spots spreading across the outer petals of his roses, slowly creeping inward and giving them a rotten look. To his horror, the disease began to spread throughout his flower beds. Fearing for all the roses in the valley, he turned to a specialist for help. "I have never seen anything like it," exclaimed Hans, his longtime friend. "Did you check to see if your neighbor's roses are affected too?" "I did. I asked them and even went to see for myself." "Nothing," said Mr. Amadeus. "In that case," said Hans solemnly, "the only way to stop it may be to destroy the source. I'm sorry, Amadeus, but you might have to burn all your roses bushes." With a heavy heart, Mr. Amadeus returned home. He took a can of kerosene from the garage cabinet, and in the name of his love for the rose species, poured it over his flower beds. Then he lit a match. He set his entire garden on fire. In less than an hour, what had once been a beautiful sea of colorful roses turned into piles of ashes and charred branches. News of what had happened spread quickly. Mr. Amadeus wasn't seen for a long time. He had fallen into deep sadness. From time to time, someone walking by might catch a glimpse of his sorrowful face in the window and wave, but he remained in a gloomy state. Oh, if only that dreadful tragedy had ceased at that point! As days went by, more outbreaks of the terrible plague appeared throughout the village. The roses would first show spots, then wither, and finally dry up completely. The disaster brought them together to face this common enemy as one. A town assembly was called, and everyone came, men, women, and children. The mayor and his wife stood on a platform, both visibly distressed. The mayor spoke with concern. "Friends of the village of the Rose, my heart broke this morning as I walked through town. I couldn't smell the sweet scent of our roses in the air. It was as if the birds were singing a sad song and the butterflies were flapping their wings in grief. My eyes saw a dark, unfamiliar version of our village. Without our roses, what will we become? They are part of who we are. They have always been the symbol of our people and the livelihood of our children. Their colors and shapes have amazed us since we were young. When they bloomed, we bloomed, and when they wilted, we kept their petals like treasures, drying them carefully, as one would dry the finest grain. And we enjoyed together delicious aromatic teas. They hold the memories of our childhood. Fellow citizens, this sorrow runs deep." The mayor's heartfelt speech moved the crowd. Many wiped away tears, and women pulled handkerchiefs from their bags. In the crowd stood a 13-year-old girl named Isabel. She wasn't like the other children. She had embraced the village's culture so deeply that she kept a small flower garden in her bedroom. She experimented with crossbreeding colors and shapes, and incredibly, none of her roses were sick. They were all perfectly healthy, with vivid, strong colors. This led Isabel to a conclusion. Our flowers are so delicate that even small changes in climate affect them. They will only survive in greenhouses. The weather has changed too much in recent years. They need the same stable temperatures they have always had. Isabel's mother asked to speak with the mayor and told him that her daughter's roses were still healthy. The mayor was stunned. He asked Isabel to speak to the townspeople and share what she knew. Isabel stepped forward and began. Since I was 6, I have watched our roses closely. I have always loved their scent, their colors, their shapes. When I was little, I was just as tall as the rose bushes. So to me, they felt like beautiful giants. They were the beauty of my childhood. Every winter when they died under the snow, I felt like the world was mourning. So I started keeping them in my room, where they wouldn't suffer from the cold or run out of nutrients. Of course, cried the mayor. We will build greenhouses with stable temperatures. The crowd cheered. The people were inspired by their leader's excitement. And soon, with support of the village government, every resident had a proper greenhouse where they could grow roses and run their own business. The mayor awarded Isabel the title of Honorary Citizens of the village for her dedication to protecting the community's heritage and for saving the local economy. Mr. Amadeus, deeply touched by Isabel's discovery, gave her a beautiful book in a lovely box to store her seeds. The title, Everything About Roses. A year later, Isabel's greenhouse was filled with perfumes, teas, soaps, and scented sachets. She began receiving visits from Eastern merchants, who were always amazed by the unique charm of this fragrant little town and by the sensitive hearts of its people. Now, proud caretakers of beautiful glass houses, filled with the most breathtaking flowers they have ever seen. The roses of the village of the rose. If you like the story, like it, comment, share. I have a beautiful activity book to help you practice becoming a good storyteller. The link is in the description. Thanks for listening to my story. See you in the next one.